what Ideon can teach us about the Ares and Xenoblade Cross. Welcome back! The Ares is currently, without a doubt, the most important mech in Xenoblade. I promised long ago to make a video about all the media that has influenced Xenoblade, but now, after Xenoblade Cross Definitive Edition, I feel it's the best time to do so. Specifically, one of those animes, Space Runaway Ideon from 1980. Its many similarities to the Ares Prime, and what it could mean for the next entries in the saga. Let's take a quick recap at the Ares lore first. There's the Nexus or Rift between worlds, a space between worlds where all the consciousness and souls depart to, heading to the abyss. The Ares was a skill made by a Samarian scientist, Void, in order to house 6 cores made by distilling the power of the conduit, a mysterious monolith, source of infinite energy, and the gateway to this domain of consciousness, presumably where the infinite energy leaks, enabling the Ares to cross this space in between and travel to other universes. The downside is that in making it, he steered the ghosts for the first time, mysterious interdimensional entities, theorized to be some kind of corrective system, and have been pursuing the course ever since, the calamity that struck Samar. Void was confined in a mind prison, and the Ares destroyed, or vanished, yet its remains were excavated eons later by descendants of Samar, that were searching for ruins, records and relics, putting some armor plate and forcing it to run again, provoking the ghosts once more. Its appearance is different now. There's some external armor/frame to control it, but inside it has a translucent hard look. You can see the stars through it. It has an expressionless face. According to Al, a human that pilots the Ares and shares a link to it, unlike anyone, the Ares has a soul, in many instances showing signs of being sentient, a will of its own, analyzing data, taking decisions, or powering up briefly after a motivational speech. It needs a living being to control it, to power it up, as the Ares assimilates to its pilot. Due to being made from the gateway, it has the ability to channel all sentient life flowing there, allowing the depart to manifest, even as apparitions. Connected to the ship, it allows them to travel to the rift and end in a new universe. Can summon swords, powerful cannons, etc. Now, Ideon, from Space Runaway Ideon, mech anime made in 1980 by Gundam creator Tomino. Very butchered and simplified setting is as follows. Many human species are scattered throughout the universe, some more advanced than others. Each has their own Earth. The story follows human colonizers on planet Solo, like the male protagonist, kos-mos, excavating relics from the lost 6th civilization. And they found 2 things: Ideon, an ancient alien mech that houses an entity known as Ide, and a ship, now known as the Solo ship. They are engaged and attacked by a superior in tech human race with a silly name, the Buff Clan, which blames Solo humans and their mech for the threat their planet Earth suffers. They have a different name for the Solo planet and refer to Ideon as the Giant God. The female protagonist, Karala, is some sort of princess from the Buff Clan, a researcher of the lost legend of Ide. Its lore was deformed and now it's like a legend or fantasy. She deserts and joins the humans in the Solo ship, being considered a traitor by her people, and later on expecting a child from the not Captain Noah called Bess. Now onto the mech itself. In the beginning, it's just another boy finds mech and fight story, but it starts to turn deeper. Ideon, it's not an ordinary mech. It is sentient and has infinite energy, and that energy is the Ide, the entity inhabiting said mech. According to the Ide itself, I am the collection of thousands, Tens of thousands, hundreds of millions of consciousness become one, a single being, a collective consciousness, literally a vessel for all sentient life. It is represented as a glimmer in space, and also showing the universe in his visor. Starts to sound familiar? There's even more! Connecting Ideon to the ship allowed them to travel through the subspace. An in-between dimension enabled them to warp long distances, which would require huge amounts of energy, like the antimatter engines the Buff Clan knew. Ideon can even shoot ships hiding in that dimension, effectively a phase transition cannon. Ideon can help residual consciousness and souls of deceased people manifest, can shoot in multiple directions, can even cut planets, can project thoughts from people afar, even allowed communication of a kid with an unborn baby. It can be powered up through strong wills of young people of pure hearts. But what's more terrifying is what comes after. It's not just a tool for the protagonists, a mech. It's an entity, an antagonist. They could control it at first, but later the mech started to take decisions on its own, acting against their interests, whether they liked it or not. As a sentient being, he is trying to defend its existence. Ide shall be invoked only by the purest of hearts. Ide doesn't understand why humans hate each other. At first it guided people to meet the enemy so they could understand each other. But it grew impatient as people continued to fight one another. Ide set a plan to erase those of evil hearts, to stop them from invading its own existence. Ide found a new source of power, of righteousness, of pure hearts, choosing to protect children and babies, the next generation, abandoning the old. Just like many times before apparently, he was found in the ruins of the sixth civilization, guiding both sides to conflict. So they would annihilate themselves, and it could restart humanity once more, with the new generation leading the way. And it succeeded. We've seen many similarities with the Wave existence and the Ares so far, which means if they continue following these ideas, things aren't looking good. Perhaps the final boss of the whole franchise will be the Ares, or the Conduit itself, an entity born from the accumulation of souls, exercising judgment upon all existence. The Ares has shown some sentience. If you think of it, the Ares did guide Elma, Al and others to new worlds, allowing them to meet other species, understand each other. In a sense, the planet Mira also did that. However, the Ide is trying to defend itself. Ghosts are theorized to be a corrective system, forever searching the cores made from the conduit, perhaps trying to stop its spirit from being corrupted. Perhaps part of the Ares wishes so. If we follow some other ideas, like the mech choosing the next generation, or Karala's parallels to Elma, perhaps Elma and Al could have a child, which would grow up as the next Ares pilot. We get in Elma's kid before Mithra's kid? The fandom burns. The Buff clan has parallels to the Ganglion, but mostly superficial. Their fear and hate of humans and their mech, blaming them as the threat to their species. But I could see the next Xenoblade to have another closer antagonistic force inspired by them, the Chlorians. Matriarchal instead of patriarchal, but fit the idea of a different version of humans, with superior tech. They shared their technology in the past, but nowadays they are a closed nation, forbids outsiders, and are related to Samar, a prior civilization. Our Neil Nile is considered a heretic by them. She is a cosmoarchaeologist, and the Maiden, although she left her duty apparently. now working with humans, so she also kinda fits the Karala role. Plus the whole artificial womb plants, it's quite interesting for a story, and their vast ecosystem really could fit for another exploration Xenoblade Cross game. Before leaving, let's take a quick look at Xenogears lore and similarities to the Ares. Unless you haven't played and want to avoid spoilers. If that's the case, have a good one. Original Weltal, or Alpha Weltal, is the gear Lacan used 500 years ago that fused with the anima relic Lafali, becoming an Omnigear. Hence got a link to the Zohar, the original conduit, giving it immense amounts of energy output, as a living frame or bioarmor in the external layer. Metallic look, aura, it can draw the Zohar's absolute power. And now onto the most obvious equivalent, Xenogears, the form Phase Weltal takes after he made contact with the wave existence, a higher entity that is trapped in the Zohar, forced to descend by the machine into this four-dimensional plane, forced to be an individual, as in its dimension everything was one and waves. After Deus' destruction, being free, the wave existence seeked to return to its higher plane, but the amount of energy would destroy Faye's planet. Faye uses Xenogears to enter the rift left by the wave existence to rescue Ellie, the path to a higher dimension where only their consciousness are present. Also take a look at this concept art, or the field Deus was surrounding itself when entering space displacement mode. We don't know if it's still operational after the ending. Funny how it's always our mech, the one being overpowered by the other. In Gears, it was the original Weltal defeating Phase Weltal, and in Xenoblade Cross, it was the Vita, an equivalent made by Void worshippers overpowering the Ares, which was the original one. We never win. Finally, there's also kos-mos ES, the Dyna. Visually, the hips and waists, that translucid purple surrounded by silver armor plate, with spoilers in the back, or the fact that part of it, the interface, can turn into a bike, much like how the Prog Ares series turns into a bike in vehicle mode. Many attacks are similar, and enter the hyperspace to travel long distances everywhere without needing the UMN. And it's kos-mos, the part that fits the role of guiding and channeling the sentient consciousness. And Elma's true form resembles kos-mos, while her meme resembles Telos. Also, small additive, the Vita reminds me of the Turn X in many ways. Ancient mech from beyond the solar system, from another human civilization, can be piloted, but to extract its true power you need something else, to be a new type. Plus many Gundam shenanigans, but there's not enough time or space in the script to elaborate more. Next time. Anyways, what do you think of the Ares? Of the Ideon parallels? Do you think the Ares will become evil? Will we fight the conduit? Or will it learn to love thanks to Al? That would be for today. Have a good one.